And so the hate for Lomachenko continues. It's funny to me, one thing that I noticed, and these are I want you guys to really pay close attention to each hater of Lomachenko. See, here's the narrative. They give him props, right? They commend Lomachenko for his accomplishments. But in order to keep the chat room, the followers, the casual fans that follow these guys, in order to keep them controlled, in order to keep them following them, after giving Lomachenko his just due, then they say things like, well, but he's not fighting Tank Davis. He's not rematching Gary Russell Jr. He's not daring to be great by moving up in weight to 140, to 147. He's not trying to do great things like Mikey Garcia, who moved up to fight Earl Spence. These are the type of Lomachenko haters that you have to pay close attention to. They do the same thing with Usyk, right? Even though I know 100% sure they didn't watch any of Usyk's fights in the cruiserweight tournament. It's 100% fact that I know most of these haters did not watch Usyk in the tournament, in the cruiserweight tournament. 100% facts. First of all, you would have you would have to stream most of the fights, because I don't remember Usyk's fights being televised, and I guarantee you these guys weren't doing. I stream everything. Okay, but anyway, they do the same thing with Usyk. Oh, he's great, but he's not pound for pound, even though he was undisputed cruiserweight champion. He's not pound for pound because he's not really trying to move up in weight to fight any of the heavyweights. These are the type of haters you gotta pay close attention to. Lomachenko defeated his mandatory. A lot of the times you haters get mad when a fighter doesn't fight his mandatory. You did the same thing with Floyd. You did the same thing with Manny Pacquiao. You did the same thing. The same thing. The absolute same thing with Andre Ward. All these different fighters who didn't fight their mandatory, you clowned them for it. You clowned them for it. You got upset. Oh, he needs to fight his mandatory. Floyd, he's ducking his mandatory. Oh, Keith Thurman, he's avoiding his mandatory. Sean Porter, he's avoiding his mandatory. But then when you got a guy like Lomachenko who fights his mandatory is a bum. His mandatory was garbage. His mandatory was a cherry pick. That's this generation. That was his mandatory. Crolla earned the spot to be his mandatory. So, if Deontay Wilder, the man who ducked $100 million, is about to fight his mandatory, Anthony Joshua's leftovers, if Wilder defeats Brazil, his mandatory, Dominic Brazil, remember, Anthony Joshua's leftovers, who Anthony Joshua beat 4 years ago, stopped him. His leftovers. If Wilder defeats Brazil, outclasses him, knocks him smooth out, first round, second round, third round, fourth round, whatever round, I want all you Lomachenko haters to give Wilder the same energy, the same criticism you are giving to Lomachenko, who just defeated his mandatory, stopped him. Don't cry about the referee. Don't cry that there was the same referee for the Wilder and Fury fight. Don't cry. Just remember to give Wilder that same energy for fighting his mandatory, Anthony Joshua's leftovers. Lomachenko is possibly the most highly skilled fighter today. I don't care what fighter you put in front of him. I don't care who is fighting. Like you guys say, according to the eye test. According to the eye test. What you see with your two beady little scrawny eyes. Lomachenko is the most highly skilled southpaw, no, let me not label him a southpaw, fighter, period, today. Usyk, he doesn't move like Lomachenko. Crawford, he doesn't move like Lomachenko. Anthony Joshua, he doesn't move like Lomachenko. Mikey Garcia, he doesn't move like Lomachenko. Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Inu, Rigondeaux. None of these guys move like Lomachenko. None of them. So don't sit there and pretend that Lomachenko is not a pound-for-pound fighter and one of the best that we have today. One of the best that we have today. I'm not going to compare Lomachenko to Manny Pacquiao. I'm not going to compare him to Pernell Whitaker, to Duran. I'm not going to compare him to Macho Camacho. I'm not going to compare him to Boom Boom Mancini. I'm going to compare Lomachenko to the fighters that we have today. And today, Lomachenko is by far the most talented fighter around. Period. It's no debating it. Why would you even lie to yourself? Respect the man. Don't dislike him because he's European. Don't dislike him because he's not the same race as you. Like the man for what he's doing. Respect the man for what he's doing in the ring. This man is showcasing. He's calling guys out. Mikey Garcia called out Errol Spence Jr. and Errol Spence Jr. accept that challenge. Mikey Garcia fought him. Now, Mikey Garcia, can you please do the same thing Errol Spence did for you? Lomachenko called you out. Why don't you accept the challenge, get outclassed and outboxed, and then you can move on. You can still do great things. You can still do great things at 140. This is the generation of jumping up and down in weight. This is the generation where you could lose a whole bunch of weight and then rehydrate the next day. Why don't you accept the challenge with Lomachenko? Accept that challenge. I mean, all the Errol Spence Jr. Fanboys, they gave him so much props accepting his challenge, accepting your challenge, Mikey Garcia, and they gave you so much props. So now, why don't you accept the challenge? Lomachenko was calling you out. Don't you want those same people that gave Errol Spence Jr. his credit for giving you a shot? Let these guys give you credit. Let these guys give you credit for taking up Lomachenko. I mean, after all, it is a clear duck you avoiding him. He called you out. He called you out in different interviews. He said you were scared. He said you're just talking. And he even called you out after the Crawler fight. So now, Lomachenko haters, respect the man. Respect him. You won't see a Lomachenko for a long time. Like you're not going to see a Manny Pacquiao for a long time. You're not going to see a Floyd Mayweather for a long time. And I guarantee you, you won't see a Lomachenko for a long time. This is the MOBC. Sorry about the ether, but I had to do it.